All right, welcome to the Sports Guys. We've got another great episode for you tonight. Tonight, we're going to talk about the NFL playoffs divisional round, which just finished up this weekend. And we had four excellent games. Three of them ended up very close, down to one possession. One of them ended up to be a complete blowout. And we'll talk about all the reasons why in all four games, and we'll break them down. We're going to go into the stats, the great performances, some of the ramifications. And then we're also going to talk tonight about the 10 NFL coaching openings, two of which have been filled, and then a third that just got filled about 30 minutes ago. So how you doing, Robbie?
Doing great. What a weekend. Wow, wow, wow.
Man, man, incredible. It
Just
just keeps coming.
football. My twins just turned 10. They had their birthday. We had a great party. Thanks for coming.
I had a lot
Um,
of fun. It was good.
what a weekend. I mean, the football was amazing. It was not pretty football. It was ugly football. It was intense, physical football. It was very exciting.
Well, you talk a
Two,
lot about how you wish we were back to the days where, or you wish we were in a day where it was mostly domes and you had real clean football, you had high
yeah,
scoring, and you
yep.
didn't have snow and cold and all that. And I found it really interesting. The theme was for me, you had a situation where the LA Rams go into Chicago with 3-degree weather. They can't practice for that in Los Angeles. It's impossible to
Yeah.
prepare for it. They go in there, no one can feel their hands on either side of the ball. And
Hmm.
yet the Rams go in and win in that situation. Okay, one penalty, zero turnovers, and they're in. It's just
Right.
remarkable to me that that happened. Then you see another dome team go in, which was the Texans, to a similar situation in New England, and they could barely hold on to the ball. I mean, you had a situation where they had five turnovers, and they really should have had eight. If you watched every play of that game, they
Yeah.
got really lucky on a couple recoveries. So,
Yeah.
what is your thought about that? Why is it that some warm weather teams can handle it and some can't?
They're coaches.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, it's entirely coaching. It's entirely coaching. Coaching has to do with the psychological um, delivery of your team on a certain day for 3 hours. Your job is to get them to be in a bit of a fever pitch frenzy and focused on doing the job. And then when it's all over, you can talk about how cold it was or what you like. Your job is to get them to mentally go somewhere else. I heard Kurt Signetti from Indiana say that he heard a bunch of pleasantries in the last 2 weeks about the seniors and how this is their last game and all this. And he goes, all that's over now. It's time to get our edge. It's time to like button down and be and have an edge and be
Yeah, yeah.
intense. And I think the coaches that won tended to have an edge more than the other did. Um, that's certainly true of all, but maybe the Buffalo and Denver one. But I think you could even make the case there that Sean Payton, his team was pretty edgy. So, uh, and two of the four games went to overtime. So that
Hmm.
means, really, really close games, really tight
Fantastic.
matchups. I
Yeah.
mean, really one blowout, one one game where the quarterback played so badly that he overcame one of the best defensive performances you're going to
Right.
see,
His D was
and
fantastic.
then two overtime games that could have gone either way, to be honest with you. So
Hmm.
that's good. That's very exciting football. Like
It
I
is.
don't know about you, but it was compelling, you know?
Oh, I loved every minute of it. To
I
finish
think
off
it would have
the
been better football if they had played in clean environments, but you know,
to finish off
I mean,
on the cold weather theme, though,
yeah,
because I know that's what you wish is that there was 32 domes, but the reality
yeah,
is that's not going to happen. Although I will say Buffalo opens their new stadium next year, it has a retractable roof, so they have a situation where they could potentially make it nicer in the playoffs. But
I
bottom
thought
line
it did
is
not have, I thought it didn't have a retractable.
it has a retractable roof. Yep.
I don't think it does. I was stunned when I saw the drawings. It has no roofing whatsoever.
So they're going to maintain the cold weather play.
I was
My
stunned,
point is if I'm
stunned.
the Texans and I'm looking at my quarterback situation, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to re-up this guy who's been playing so badly 2 years in a row in the playoffs, and I'm sitting there looking
I
at
think so.
Kansas City, Buffalo, New England, those three guys, and maybe Ravens. Those four teams are always going to be in your way if you're the Texans, and all those guys play in outdoor stadiums in sub-degree weather.
No
And
question.
so I'm sitting there thinking to myself, can I go with this guy, or do I need a quarterback who can handle the cold? It's a big question. I mean, the
But I
Dolphins
don't
have
think
given up on
I
Tua
don't think the
largely because he couldn't handle it either.
I agree with that. Tua was a problem in the cold. I don't think as bad as Stroud was, his whole team was bad on offense. So like I just think he had a really bad game. Like I'm not going to excuse it, but I don't think you throw away the baby with the bathwater here. I think he
I'm
needs a
not
new
saying you give
situation.
up on him. I'm not saying you give up on it, but I think you
No, but a
do
lot
what
of
you.
people are saying that, and so I like to push back on that. Where I don't think is he the completely wrong guy? No, just like Bryce Young wasn't the wrong guy when he was getting beat up in Carolina. Both guys were projects when they came in. Stroud had some early success. The reality of the NFL is brutal, and he's in a high level situation with not a great offense. I mean, his two top level receivers were both out.
I know,
His top two receiving, and Nico Collins catches, I don't know,
but
a third of the balls that he throws. And Schultz was the second highest receiving guy. He was
but,
also out after the
but
first
every team
series.
looks
So he was
every team
left like completely with the cupboard bare, and he's not good enough to do that.
every team that heads into the offseason, and there's all the teams but four that are there now. If I'm the Texans, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, what do I need to do to get better? I need more pieces on offense, number one. But
Yeah.
I gotta find a way to get my quarterback to be able to compete in December and January. I have to, or else this is gonna keep happening. And
Well,
so
the first
there-
thing is you put good guys around him, and then you see if he can't do it. Like I don't think we even know right now. Um, but my point is, what I'm hearing a lot of around the um, the punditry, the sports media. There's a lot of overreacting going on, a lot of wild overreacting. I mean, whether it's firing, McDermott or uh, let's get rid of Stroud. I mean, there's way too much hysteria going on with the results from yesterday. These
well,
are
we'll
deep, deep in the playoffs with terrible weather in almost every case. And that's going to throw some new wrinkles in there that
but,
maybe you haven't faced.
but that's my point is you need to build a roster and a coaching staff who can handle the bad weather because
I
it's going to be
agree.
reality going forward. And so
No,
if
I
if
agree.
I'm
You
the
have to be ready for bad weather in the playoffs. There's
if
no
I'm
doubt
if
about
I'm
it.
if I'm teams that are not good in the bad weather, I'm going to be looking at what did the Rams do. I'm going to look at every aspect of it because they didn't even have a dropped pass. It was unbelievable the way they played. They played
Yeah,
so clean,
it's true.
and so you
They
got to
made
figure
no
out
mistakes.
what did they
The
do.
Rams, it was pure coaching why they won that game. Um, and Matthew Stafford's amazing in a final drive. He's the
Mhm.
best in the NFL right now at let's go tear their hearts out, and he really
Yeah,
means it.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
he did that against the Panthers, and yesterday when there was an interception or fumble recovery interception. Uh, he looked at McVay, nodded, and said, "Let's go do this." He's got that killer instinct on a final drive.
He
You
does.
can't let him be down by less than 7, and he's gonna win. Yeah, Stafford's going to the Hall of Fame. And
You
I think
realize
he's
also in cold weather games is you're going to get lower scores. It's just how it is. And you
not
had
necessarily.
the
You
Rams
could have
and
these crazy Seattle like pick sixes and fumble returns, putting you back down on the 3, and
the Bears essentially did really nice drives in the first quarter. Then they did nothing for
yeah,
2 quarters, and then they both did
yeah.
stuff in the fourth quarter. That's what was
I
happening in
agree
a
with
lot of
that.
cold
I
weather
agree.
games.
I
The other
think
thing that I never
there's a good
understood.
there's a good likelihood of lower scoring games, no question, but it's not automatic because you might have defenses bowing up and just crushing the offense that's like can't feel their hands and throwing slightly off because they're so cold that everything's
Yeah,
a little off. Offenses that are built on timing get thrown completely upside down. That's why to win in the cold, you have to be able to run the ball and play defense. You
and that was
have
what I was
to.
going to ask you next. Was my other
Yeah.
theme coming out of this was the teams that ran the ball best lost their games. So
Sort of, but
I'm scratching my head. Like you and I both saw this whole season in the regular season, the running game took over again. I mean, the running game
no,
was
I know.
huge games.
But
Why was it
Tom,
in this round that the running games didn't prevail? The
all right,
ones
hang
who
on.
won
Let me
didn't have
answer
much.
that. Let me answer that. It's a good question. The bottom line is who had a good running day yesterday? You might look at Cook's performance and say he had
The
a great
Bills.
running day. No, he didn't. He had a good half, and he
Hmm.
did a lot of damage in a half. But at the
Hmm.
end of the day, he got completely stuffed in the second half. There is one running back who did well yesterday, and that was Seattle.
Yeah,
You know,
he was great.
um, Seattle had a great running day. Otherwise, everyone else was completely choked off from running the ball.
It's true.
And you could say Cook had great numbers, but that's very misleading because that was almost all exclusively in the first half. And then the whole second half, it was a different world. So um, that wasn't a great running day for them.
I was watching
A
FS1.
great running day is one where it's getting better as like Terrell Davis. You're getting bigger and
Yeah, I
bigger chunks as the game goes on.
was watching
And
FS1.
that didn't happen.
Their reasoning for why there was not much running this weekend was because you're facing the top five defenses in the NFL, and they're all
I
really
agree.
good at stuffing the run. And so there is some truth to that. You're not
But
playing
it's not
Raiders
just
anymore.
that. It's teams that had bad defenses that actually played well. Like
Yeah,
Chicago played well
yeah,
on defense. They have a trash defense. The
right.
Rams have had a really bad second half of the season on defense,
Mhm.
and they played well.
They did.
Um, New England's D was lights out, incredible. Houston's D played amazing,
They did.
but couldn't overcome Stroud's turnovers. And Seattle's D absolutely whooped San
They were
Fran's.
unbelievable.
San Fran's D just couldn't really handle
The
anything.
Broncos D was probably the worst D the whole weekend. They gave up 500
No,
yards
I
of
think
offense,
San Fran's D was the worst.
maybe. But
They couldn't stop them on any front.
if I'm
Like
the
it was,
Broncos, I'm not feeling great about my defense right now. They gave up a lot of yardage to Josh
Mhm.
Allen. Of course, he's great, but
Yeah.
I
You
don't
know what
know.
was interesting about that game was Denver's inability to deal with the heat that Buffalo is bringing.
Hmm.
They could not handle um, the pressure coming in. And for
Hmm.
some reason, all the play calls were calling for like 5-step drops,
Hmm.
and the blitzes were getting to them. And you know,
And they're another one of those teams
Bo
that
Nix was
didn't
just
run the ball.
dumping it off and throwing it away. And yeah,
They're another team that has a running game. They didn't run it. I don't
they
understand
didn't
why.
run it, and they also didn't use like short dump off screens and stuff to how you beat a blitz.
Hmm.
So like that didn't look good. I don't know what Sean Payton was doing, but
How are you feeling if you're Sirianni and the Eagles? You're sitting at home. You lost to this team, the 49ers, and then you watch them get absolutely bamboozled by the Seahawks, 41-6. You have to be really wondering now.
no, I mean, listen, I really think assistant coach of the year should go to Salah. I mean, I think what he did with players that you've never heard of, as all his best players started to go down and get hurt, there were no excuses. Next man up. Who are you? Okay, cool. Suit up. Let's go. Salah did a really good job. And at the end of the day, he got all the way to the quarterfinals of the
Hmm.
NFC. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and then he got exposed. His team got exposed. They're not very good on defense. They're not great with Warner, who's the best
Yeah.
linebacker in football, and Nick Bosa
Bosa.
is probably the best edge rusher in football. I mean, putting pressure on and stopping the run are those two guys' forte. And also Warner can also um, cover. So, you know, when you're missing those two guys, it's just, and then your best weapon on offense is probably Kittle. So you're missing him too. There just wasn't anywhere to turn. Like, you
The
know,
injuries finally caught up with them. They played a
they
team
caught
that's
up with them.
complete,
They
that's what it
got
is.
exposed for a team that was being put forward on smoke and mirrors. Talented players, but just not quite enough,
They got as
and
far as they could get, essentially,
yeah,
with that roster.
absolutely.
Hmm.
I tip my hat to the coaches. They got them to that game.
Salah
Like, wow.
Salah had multiple positions where there were third stringers he was playing. He had all
Yeah.
three linebackers that started the year were all out
There were a
for the season.
number of guys he was starting that weren't on the team at the beginning of the year. A lot of
Hmm.
players.
Hmm.
So that
That's right.
that tells you that they're just putting this together, patchwork, like Salah, try and get them to rush the passer in together. Like
That's right. Well, let's go break down these games, Robbie. Here we go.
do it.
Let's take a moment to give a shout out to our sponsor for tonight. That's DraftKings. They've been a longtime sponsor of ours. Rob and I've had a lot of fun just going out and doing small bets on DraftKings and playing fantasy football on DraftKings. What do you think of DraftKings, Robbie?
Great. I went a little crazy with the college games. I just have a great time. I like to really think through what I think is going to happen, look at the lines. There's so much fun stuff. There's so much information on the site. I love that. And I really enjoy seeing it puts some juice into the game. It's really a good time.
The interface is really cool. The app's really cool, I think, both on the website
Yeah.
and the app itself. It's really easy to use. It's really exciting. It serves up a lot of interesting bets you wouldn't have thought of before. You can put like $5 down on kind of thing. I wanted to also mention the special deal they have right now. If you put a deposit down on your first bet of $5, if you win that bet, you get $300 of bonus bets, which is really cool. What a great deal
That is
that is.
cool.
Take advantage of that. But
They also have
again,
boost. You can boost your bet by a
mhm,
percentage. I did that in a couple college games, and it's a really cool way to enjoy sports and add
mhm,
a little wrinkle, a
mhm.
little extra juice.
It does give you a little bit of extra interest in the game. There's no doubt about it. So, guys, try DraftKings tonight. Go download their app or check out DraftKings.com and go ahead and download the app and put your first deposit down and go for that deal where you only have to bet $5. You can win $300 in bonus bets and do that tonight. Enjoy it.
A lot of fun.
See you next time. All right, so this is our episode 105 NFL playoffs divisional round breakdown. And you can see it's pretty exciting to think about that Lombardi trophy is going to be awarded here in a couple weeks in
Yeah.
Santa Clara, California. The 49ers, of course, wanted to play a home game, but it didn't happen. And now you're down to these four quarterbacks. And I wanted to ask you, Robbie, could you ever imagined that this was the foursome you'd be left with? Sam Darnold, Stafford, yes. Certainly before the year, you could see him possibly being in the Final Four. Drake May in his second season, and then Jared Stidham, who's the backup for Bo Nix, who got them here and hasn't thrown a pass in 3.5 years in a regular game.
If I'll be honest, at the beginning of the season, before the first kickoff, I would have thought you were crazy.
I know, exactly.
But watching Drake May, look, you and I have both been Drake May fans since the
Of
beginning.
course.
We're
Yep.
not surprised about his success. Well, I'm a little surprised at how early it's coming. Like
I
I
don't,
would have
I
said
didn't think,
two,
I
three
thought
years from now.
Vrabel, you needed to give him 3 years to have this kind
I
of
agree.
success.
I
Yeah.
thought he was going to need time to build the culture. I didn't know it was going to be immediate. I really didn't.
Yeah. That's right.
So yeah, I mean,
And Sam
Drake
Darnold
May,
had that fantastic year last year with the Vikings, and then he flamed out in
yeah,
the playoffs, and everyone
I
thought that's
wouldn't
what
have
he was
guessed that at all.
doing. And he
I
didn't
think
flame.
he's a guy that can get your team to the playoffs and then lose,
Typically,
traditionally. But man, his team is a juggernaut right now.
they're so good. Yeah. Yeah. And then Stafford, of course, he's trying to get that second ring very desperately because he's towards the end of his career. So if you had asked me at the beginning of the year, he's the only one of these four I would have considered as a possibility.
He's absolutely one of the four I would have guessed would be there.
Yeah.
Um, Nobody in their right mind could tell you Stidham would have been there. But
Maybe Bo Nix,
um,
possibly because
I
he had a
really
really
think
good.
I would have said that May would be there, but probably 1 or 2 years from now.
Mhm.
I think he needed a little time. This is only year two. Like
We'll
that's
get into
that's
later.
early.
We'll get into later who our picks are for these two games. It's going to be really fun to talk about.
Yeah.
But again, I just want to get your take on whether you would have even imagined this foursome as our Final Four. Let's
No.
get into the Bills Broncos. This happened on Saturday. This is the first game. It was an epic
Mm,
playoff game. So much
it
fun.
was.
If you like
Yeah,
playoff
it
football,
was wild. It was
there
wild.
was there was turnovers, yes, but there was a lot of great plays in this game. You look
Yeah.
at the numbers. Allen and Knicks had essentially almost the same game. One of them had two interceptions, one had one. Allen also did what he did 2 years ago, unfortunately, got a little loose with the ball. And I think the two biggest plays in the game were the one you see there on the left in the picture, where it looked like a catch to at least Bills fans and to many of us. I felt it was too. But when they rolled over, the Bronco player had it in his hands, and they called it an
Yeah.
interception. So I felt like that was the play of the game. The second play of the game, though, is not talked about, and it was 2 seconds left in the half, and Allen is running right up the middle, wide open, and he's at his own 30-yard line, and inexplicably tries to turn to his left, and the ball gets knocked loose. He's carrying it like a loaf of bread
Yeah. That
out in
was
front of him.
completely irresponsible of him.
And
He
by the
was
way,
overly confident.
that happened 2 years ago against the Kansas City Chiefs, the same almost exact way. And it's like
Yeah.
almost like he hasn't learned that you have to take care of the ball in that situation. So what happened?
Especially in the middle of the field. If you're going to get it knocked out, it probably would go out of bounds if you're right on the out of bounds line.
Right,
Most likely it'll go out of bounds. If you get it whacked, if you get it whacked in the middle of the field, it's open season,
right,
you know,
exactly.
and
So
it's
then,
pretty inexcusable. Yeah.
you think about those 3 points that they got for free at the end of the first half with 2 seconds left. They never should have had, and the Bills would have won the game. It's quite simply.
Yeah.
And then I look at
No, but
these stats.
you don't know how it would have played out after that though. Like
Not necessarily,
I'm not
but I
saying they
mean,
would have or wouldn't have won. Anything that's in overtime
you had that play that gave
is
them 3 points that wouldn't have happened. So that's one. The
but
second
everything
play
after
was.
that you can't say what would have happened because possessions would have been different
I'm
and
just trying to explain what the
yeah.
three plays I think that could have given the Bills the win. One was that.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Those were three pivotal moments where they could have easily gone on on the winning side of the
Two,
ledger,
two
no
was this
doubt.
play here that we just talked about, where the NFL world is very divided on it. I mean, you have guys who've been watching football for 45 years saying that 100% it was a catch, and some of them were DBs saying that. You would think they would be on the DB side, and then you have other people that said that he didn't complete the process, so 100% it was an interception.
You,
So it very much
you,
divided the football family, whether you cared about either team.
you know what I
That,
think it
so that
was?
was play two, and then play
I think it
three.
was an absolutely an interception because if there was one angle, it keeps showing the angle from the back, and they're like, "Look, he's down here," and then the guy rolls over him and takes the ball away from him. I'm like, "Yeah, but if from the front angle, you could see he didn't have possession of the ball; it was loose." So the guy
Right.
scooped it loose. He would have had to rip it if he had held it and possessed it. He didn't.
The thing
He
that
didn't have to
bothered
rip it.
me,
He just scooped it right out of his loose hands. And that's why it was an interception. He never controlled it laying on the ground with firm control. It was loosely bouncing around on his chest. The guy scooped it. That's why I felt like it was an interception.
the
Not
thing that
just
bothered
because
me the most,
I wanted Denver to win on some levels. So I was excited about the play, but I broke it down. I was like, if this was reversed, if I'm a Buffalo fan, I'm upset. But if I'm a regular casual observer and I saw the angle from the front where the ball was loose, and then the defender came in and scooped it up and rolled over, did a somersault with it, you're amazed at that defensive play. Like it's incredible. And it was super lucky timing. Like it was
but didn't it
perfectly
bother
timed.
you at all as a football fan and for football justice that they were trying to rush the next snap and not like fully review it? Like they
I
didn't go
didn't
to New
like it.
York with it. I
I
mean,
think they should
and
have had a review 100%.
They forced McDermott to take a timeout so that a full review would happen. That's not fair to him.
No, it's
I
not.
didn't like how they handled the whole thing. I think now that I've looked
No,
at
I
it from
agree.
five different
They got the
angles,
call right, but not
yeah.
reviewing it's inexcusable. That was one of the most reviewable, questionable plays of the entire playoffs. And I think they got the call right, but they had to prove it in the studio. Like they had to
Well,
prove
and
it.
he had to call a timeout to do it. He shouldn't have
Yeah,
to call a timeout. It's
that's
too
right.
big a
That's not
play.
right. Yeah,
They
I
should have
agree.
gone to the monitor.
The
So anyway,
refs, the
looking,
refs got the call right, but not reviewing it was inexcusable and completely wrong.
that's right. So you had the inexcusable fumble by him gave 3 points. You had this one, and then the
Yeah.
third one was you had one of his great tight ends flashing across the middle with 12 seconds left in regulation, and he just sails it over his head. He was wide open. It would have been an easy
Yeah.
touchdown, and that would
Yeah.
have been ball game. And
The only thing I would say about that is he was under a lot of pressure in that
he
exact
was,
moment.
he was,
And so
he was.
all I'm saying is when you put pressure on, the back end gets a lot of assistance. And so
Those
that
are the
one
kind of
hurts.
plays though that will make him
If you're a Buffalo
lose people.
fan, that one hurts, no question. But when your quarterback's getting hit back there, you may not be watching that when you're watching downfield, watching the receiver. Um,
So
you know,
anything come out of the stats for you? I look at this game leaders. The quarterbacks had essentially the same game, except Allen had more turnovers. The running
Allen
game was definitely on the Buffalo side, except for in the second half. You
mostly
had
first half, yeah.
you had Buffalo get a lot of pressure on Nix and cause a lot of errant throws, but they didn't really get any sacks. They didn't get there, so I thought that
Right,
was interesting.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
Buffalo
So
had 11 minutes of time of possession advantage, and they had 100 more yards of offense, and
well,
yet
that's
they
because
had
they ran the
five
ball.
turnovers. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Anything
turnovers
come?
were insurmountable. I mean, at the end of the day, there was a lot of turnovers in this game, but five versus one turnovers, the five turnover team's not going to win.
Right. That's right.
Just not.
So, but does it bother you if you're the Broncos to think to yourself, okay, we had to squeak one out in overtime and have a bunch of these things happen where Buffalo could have won, and yet we had a four turnover differential. So we barely
Mm-mm.
won with this differential. I mean, I think if Buffalo had
No,
had the four turnover differential, it would have been about a 2 or 3 touchdown win.
no, I think that you realize that Josh Allen is a great quarterback, that they have a lot of nice pieces overall. Their defense stepped up and was playing well. It should have been in hand for the Broncos. But I think the star of the day was Buffalo's defense. I think they
Hmm.
kept them in there. They kept them in there.
They
Um,
did.
while Denver kept coming up with turnovers, Buffalo's D just kept like bending but not breaking and not
That's
giving
true.
up all that much points. They got a turnover from Knicks, and
To your
they had no sacks, but they were feisty. They were fighting. It was
to your point, I mean, you look at the third down and fourth down and red zone numbers for Denver, and they're
yeah,
not great. They're not great,
I know.
and that shows
That's defense.
Buffalo's defense. You're right.
Yeah,
You're
that's
exactly right.
defense. Yeah. They
Anything
were
else
bending
come
but
at
not
you?
breaking. Yeah, so a couple of things. Turnovers 5-1, biggest difference in the game. And anybody who says Denver's defense didn't look good, I'm sorry, five turnovers is incredible. And you're against Josh Allen, and Josh Allen's thinking, my two biggest competitors over the years are out of this. I need to make it happen right now, and it's
I
on the
don't think
road.
it's that they didn't look good. I think the criticism is that this Denver defense that had been vaunted, had been number one most of the year, just seemed very soft when it came to how many yards they gave up and how effective
They
they were on third down, fourth
they were
down, and
bend
red
but
zone.
don't break, and they
Yeah.
attacked when they needed to attack. And I will
Mhm.
say, I saw um what's his name? Patrick Surtain go in and out of the lineup a bunch of times.
He was hurt. Yeah, he
He
was.
was banged up. So, I mean, he's a huge playmaker for you. It would be like back in the day, Darrelle Revis going out. Like it's just not the same defense. So, I think that that was a great game.
This was a great
Tremendous,
matchup between two great teams in
tremendous
the
matchup.
AFC. Yeah, no
Yep,
doubt.
good coaching, good quarterback play. Defenses both played well that day, especially Denver's. I think Denver's D, because they gave up a lot of yardage. That's that's not the point. I mean, they took the ball away five times. Like
Hmm.
that lets your offense, if they're semi-capable, have enough possessions to score
I
and
just think
win
it's
the game.
remarkable that the Bills were in position to win this game with five turnovers. That's just, to me, that's incredible,
I
and it
agree
just
with you. I
shows
agree
the
with you.
power of that offense.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
yeah.
I mean,
Well,
Allen doesn't have the best weapons to work with, but he makes it work, and he has tremendous tight ends, and they're a real big mismatch.
it's
So,
true. You
I
look
don't
at
think
the
you can
game.
win the Super Bowl with the way their roster is constructed, but they can really be a pain to try and play in the playoffs.
The other thing that was interesting was this was at Denver, and that was the reason why they were favored by 1.5. If you look at the DraftKings spread, they were favored by one
Yeah,
and a half, and then the over under was 46.5. Um, they always give the home team about a 3 point edge when it comes
three
to
points. Yeah.
odds, and so I wonder if this game had been played in Buffalo, if it would have been a different result or not. I mean, these are two pretty evenly matched teams, I think.
Yeah, I think it might have been a different result. You never know, but
Yeah.
the whole
So
point
what?
is that when you play in Mile High, this was another thing that Sean Payton said, and he's right. Buffalo had a lot of tough games,
Hmm.
and he said, "Look, the time off doesn't benefit you in the first half because
Hmm.
the other
It's
team
true.
is pretty fresh. But
True.
there, it's going to be an impact in the second half, and I think it was.
Yeah, it's
I
probably
think it
true.
was. They weren't able to run the ball as much. They had more problems. It showed itself. The fatigue was showing in the second half, and I think it contributed to Buffalo's struggles with turnovers. They were
Hmm.
mentally exhausted.
So, these two quarterbacks are two of the better in the entire league. And I just
Mhm.
wonder, Robbie, what do you think they're talking about there? Because I noticed that they lingered longer than most quarterbacks do, and they talked for a while.
Well,
Both of
when
them
I
were
saw
saying
them,
the same
I
thing.
saw this video, and Nix did all the talking. I think he was
Yeah.
telling um, Allen that he admires him. He tries to
Yeah.
pattern his game after him, all that
Hmm.
stuff. Don't hang your head. You carried this team today. You will be
Hmm.
back. Like, he said a lot of things like that, I'm
Encouraging.
sure.
Yeah. And do you think
Yeah.
he told them about his injury?
No, because at the post game press conference, he didn't mention it either.
Yeah.
He
So
literally had a microphone in his face, a broken ankle, and he's like taking questions about the game. Like,
what's
crazy.
interesting, Robbie, is there a lot of criticism from fans about how the whole post game was handled, and that really, Nick should have been asked about it, and the NFL should have been informed earlier. And why did it take Sean Payton being the last person to come out to finally announce it? So, what's your thought about that? There's some real controversy. They might even fine the Denver Broncos apparently because they waited so late into the press conference to talk about it.
Um, I think that he just started to complain that it was a little sore in the beginning. They didn't understand the seriousness of it until they got an X-ray, and they're like, "Whoa!" I think it was a surprise to everybody.
Yeah,
I
maybe it
think
was.
even I think even Bo Nix was like, it just feels a little sore." Like, I don't think he was in excruciating pain or anything,
Because these
you
guys are
know?
sore all year, right? They've got like five,
Right.
6 injuries, all of them. I mean, you
Nonstop.
saw you saw Allen was taking a beating. I don't know how he kept going. He's taking an
Nonstop.
absolute beating. Yeah. And
Yeah.
these guys just keep going. They're warriors. So maybe you're
Yeah.
right. Maybe the
I
conspiracy
think he
theorists and all that.
yeah, I don't think he knew how serious it was until he's like, it's getting a little more sore. And then let's go take an X-ray. Bam.
And it's fractured.
It's fractured.
And have you ever seen an injury on a kneel down play? Because I mean, that is just
No,
insane that
no,
that's
you
what
know what?
happened.
It wasn't on the kneel down play. It was on the play before that.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. On the play before.
Interesting. Because I was
Yeah.
thinking, how in the world could you
I
get hurt
sent
on
you
a
a
kneel?
video that it looked like that, but it was
Yeah.
actually I think it was where he ran out of bounds.
Interesting.
It was on a
So what
semi like nondescript play.
So, what is your take on where do the Bills go from here? I mean, one of the biggest and most cursed franchises in sports history in any sport. And then now they fired McDermott, which both you and I don't think they should have done.
Complete
And they
disaster,
didn't
terrible
didn't
mistake.
fire their GM. Matter of fact, they gave him a raise today.
I know. Amazing.
What in the world?
What a huge mistake. Think about it. Do you know that this GM has had 52 draft picks
And
and
two
he's
Pro
had
Bowlers.
two Pro Bowlers?
That's right.
That's
I saw that.
insane. That's nuts.
I know. One of them, James Cook, who obviously was a good pick. But
Yeah.
so what is your thought about the Bills? Do you think they're going to go get Brian Dable, who's the one that put Josh Allen on the map? I mean, he's the one who took him from
I think it
Wyoming
makes
to
sense, but
Superstar. Yeah.
I don't think anything makes sense um in terms of you're not going to get somebody better for leading your men. You and I were talking about this today. I don't want my head coach to be a big X's and O's guy. I want him to be a leader of men and a CEO. I
Hmm.
want our geek accountants to be our coordinators. I
Right.
want our X's and O's guys to take direction. I think Mike McDaniel is an offense coordinator. He needs a
Right.
head coach to come in and tell him sometimes, "Hey, stop throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill and run the ball, please. You have a Shane back there." Um,
Right.
Head coaches need to be leaders of men, set culture, set the tone, get your men not getting comfortable when they start winning.
Yeah.
Keep them,
You need Vrabel. You need Sean McVay.
yeah,
You need these guys that
yes.
set the
Those
tone.
are head coaches.
Yeah. That's
People
right.
are like, you need to go get the next young offensive coordinator as your head coach. Like that's a miss. That's a miss.
Yeah.
You end up with a lot of coaches who come in a little cocky because
Hmm.
they're like, you're a hot shot. And they've heard that so much that they believe it. So they are a little too close to the players. So a lot of times they don't have any discipline. They don't lay down the law on people, and they can't manage the entire team. They usually are all offense or defense,
Right.
and they can't
Right.
do the other side.
I,
So
I feel the Buffalo Bills will be back. I think they're going to hire Brian Daboll. I think they're going to go all defense in the draft, and I think they will be back. I think you don't like the roster nearly as much as I do,
no, no, terrible
and,
roster.
and and I feel like they will be back. You'll see them be another power in the AFC. I don't know if they'll
I
win the
think
Super Bowl.
he's a
You'll
bottom
see.
five GM in the NFL.
Yeah,
I think they're a bottom five roster, and it's a direct reflection on the GM.
it's
I
possible. We'll
think
see.
McDermott did a good job with a mediocre roster. Mediocre, below mediocre. There's 32 teams in the NFL. I think they're probably somewhere below 16. They're probably like 18 to 20.
Yeah, possibly.
Not a good
We'll see.
roster.
I see them coming back because they've got Josh Allen. They have these great weapons, and I think Daboll will get
They
them
they don't have that
pointed
many
right.
great weapons. They got a good running game.
What
That's
about
it. They
what about the Denver Broncos? I know beginning of the year you were really high on them. You love
yeah.
Bo Nix, and he
Yeah.
carried them very well this year. There were times where he was very ineffective, but he was effective in the fourth quarter often. I thought he played pretty well in this game. He was under a lot of pressure,
Yeah,
and
he
then of
was
course we
decent.
we have this very unfortunate situation where he's now got out for the season. He's going to have surgery on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So, what do you
He
think
threw the
about
ball too
Denver?
much. They were unable to run. Just pitiful running yardage. They just literally couldn't run.
Do you think that
And
they can compete next week? Number one, and number
Bo Nix
two.
shouldn't be your top rusher with 29 yards. Like
Yeah, that's terrible. That's
that's
terrible.
terrible playoff football. You're
Yeah,
you're you should lose if you get those kind of stats.
that's true.
But Bo Nix played well. He had 3 touchdowns and a pick.
Do you feel
He was
like
hitting his guys.
do you feel like the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks are the two teams that could actually afford to lose their quarterback this late in the season and still compete? I think yes, because their
Yeah,
rosters are so good.
yeah.
So
I
can a
think Peyton's
Stidham
really good
keep
with.
them?
I think Peyton is really good with quarterbacks. I think people are gonna be surprised that Stidham is gonna be competent. Um, he was the heir apparent to Tom Brady when he was brought in, and I think that people are gonna underestimate him because they haven't really heard his name much. I don't think he's gonna get it done, but I think he's gonna surprise people at how he looks like a decent quarterback back
They'll
there.
be competitive. They'll be
He'll be
competitive. Yeah.
competitive. They'll
And with
figure out a way.
Seattle,
That defense is gonna get takeaways. Um, they're a nightmare. Like they're gonna take the
they
ball
are.
away from you a
Yeah.
lot. Like
And then
they
Seattle,
get
it's the same thing with Sam Howell. I mean, obviously there's a
yeah.
step down from Darnold to Howell. There's no question about that. But I feel
Mhm.
like he could keep them in the game, and their defense is so stout, and they run the ball so well, and they have Smith and Jigba, and they've
Maybe
got tight ends that he could keep them in the game at least and make them competitive. So we'll
it's
see
hard
what
to say. Yeah,
happens. See what happens to the Broncos.
I love Seattle's roster. I'll tell you that.
Let's talk about Seattle. 49ers
Yeah.
go to the Seahawks after this shocking upset of the Eagles knocking them out of the tournament. On this day, really neither quarterback did very much. I thought Purdy looked just like he did 3 weeks ago when he was absolutely under onslaught from the Seahawks and looked, like he just couldn't do much. They didn't ask Darnold to do much because he had the oblique injury, but he had a couple of nice passes. But for the most part, this was who was going to have the better defense and who was going to run the ball better. And I think that was pretty clear what happened. So, what's your take on this game?
So I heard a funny comment today from a sports reporter somewhere on a podcast or something. They said after the first play of the game, a kick return for a
It was
touchdown
over.
took 13 seconds. They already had all the points they needed to win for the whole day.
Pretty much. Pretty much. Shaheed goes all the way.
I mean,
By the way, Robbie, they have now said that that was the call of the year. Have you heard the radio version of that call by the
I
Seattle
have.
radio people?
Yeah,
Oh my God,
it
it
was
was
pretty
so
good.
hilarious. They were
It
going
was pretty good.
crazy, screaming, and then he goes at the end. He goes, Now that's a catfish.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
you can
yeah,
only say that in Seattle.
yeah.
Well, that's a catfish.
Because of Pike's Fish Market.
Yeah, funny.
Um, so Kenneth Walker just went off. And I
Yeah.
mean, there's no other way to say it. I mean,
I got a picture of him
116 yards,
there.
3 touchdowns.
Did you know he was this jacked? The guy is jacked, man. I mean, he's
I
small,
knew
but
he was solid. I didn't know he had arms
good
like that.
Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Brock Purdy was the leading rusher for San Fran. That's not good. You got a
No.
problem. Um,
Yeah.
you know, Seattle mixed the ball around a lot. Cooper Kupp had some big catches for third, down conversions. Smith
Yep.
and Jigba was fairly bottled up. He had a touchdown, but generally, you know, I remember
And the Seahawks
Jake
defense just,
Bobo getting a nice catch. But they mixed the ball around. They had a good game plan.
I
Kenneth
thought
Walker was the story.
Dexter Lawrence and Kenneth
Yeah,
Walker. That's why I put them there because that
yeah,
Lawrence strip sack
yeah.
was a huge play in the game.
He was. He was
Three
awesome. I
turnovers
will say,
against defense that good. You can't do that in the
Charbonnet
playoffs.
is out.
Yes, I saw that.
He was not only hurt in this game, but he's out for the
Towards
season. So
towards ACL. Yeah.
yeah, so
Mhm.
it's going to come down to Kenneth Walker now. That he's the man.
Right.
So but yeah,
You,
there were a lot of receivers who caught the ball, and nobody had a huge day, but there were just some nice plays on offense, and their defense just teed off. I mean, Seattle's D only had 2 sacks, but they definitely had they got 3 turnovers and they
well,
gave
look at
up
the red
0
zone numbers. Look at the red zone
red
numbers.
zone
4 for 6.
numbers.
Yeah.
Um, Brock Purdy was the top rusher. That means they completely shut down the running backs, including McCaffrey. That's not always easy. Every time I saw McCaffrey coming off the field, he was grimacing and had just taken another ridiculous shot. That
Right.
must have been one of the most painful games McCaffrey's ever played where he wasn't actually injured. So
Have you seen a
um,
harder hitting defense this year? I have not.
I
I
have,
mean, they just
but
absolutely crush you.
Houston's gone now, and
Mhm.
I mean, they're one of the top. They're one of the top. They play real tough, and they play good complementary football. Their offense isn't making mistakes. That's the
Mhm.
thing. Like there were so many mistakes yesterday by so many of these teams.
Mhm.
There was a tremendous amount of turnovers,
Mhm.
and it's incredible. You know,
By the way, Sam Darnold's best throw, it was that corner throw to Smith and Jigba. What an amazing throw that
yeah, that was
was.
nice. That was
Yeah.
nice.
But you're right. I
Darnold
think
played
this
well. You know,
this team can run the ball well. They don't ask Darnold to do too much. When he does, he throws it to Smith and Jigba. Kenneth Walker
well,
seems to be rolling right now.
winning in the playoffs, they have the magic formula: running the ball and playing defense.
And you remember it was between them, the Rams, and the 49ers for the number one seed. Those three were fighting for it all in the same division. And when they got the number one seed, I told you, I said, Robbie, going
Yeah,
through Seattle is tough. That's a tough place to play.
yeah.
That 12th man. And
Think about it. Think about it. The other best defenses are not only Seattle, but Denver and Houston. Okay.
yes. Yep.
And and Houston's going home because they couldn't run the ball. And Denver would be going home except they got 5 turnovers.
Right. That's right.
If Buffalo had not turned the ball over that much, they would have won.
That's right. And Denver's defense is better than they played yesterday. I mean, they did not
No,
play
I agree.
great. They had a very
They
soft day.
they had bend but don't break. They wanted to keep everything in front of them. They were
Mhm.
a little bit rattled by quarterback play. It's always tough to play against Allen with those tight ends.
Mhm.
They weren't quite as aggressive, but
Yeah.
you know,
So the spread, DraftKings spread before the game was -7. Seattle Seahawks. They obviously very much covered that. I saw Shanahan's comment after the game. He said, "Look, after that first quarter, it was really tough for us. We knew the points were going to be really hard to come by against this defense. You're sitting in a 17-0 hole, and then eventually you're in a 24-0 hole. I mean, it's just on the road
yeah,
in Seattle. That's a really tough way to start the game.
yeah.
You dig yourself back in
Surprisingly,
the
the
hole.
stats aren't that different.
Yeah.
Runs runs per play and passes per play were better for Seattle.
Mhm.
But overall, not a huge difference. Overall, but pretty close, except for 3 turnovers. Those are extra possessions and less possessions for the team that turns the ball over.
I mean, Robbie,
And
he was throwing to hit Tanjas, which is his fifth string tight end. You know what I
I
mean?
know,
Like,
yeah,
how were they even in this position this late in the season? They just had nobody left. It was so sad.
I know it was.
There's no one to throw to.
It reminded me of, remember when Purdy got hurt and they didn't have a quarterback, so McCaffrey was just taking the snap
Yeah,
every
yeah, that's right.
down. What was that, like 3 years ago? It
Yep.
was like that.
Mhm.
They had nobody left, you know?
So there was a very provocative question on Fox Sports One today, and I wanted to ask you about it. It was essentially, if you look at the numbers between um, Jones and Purdy this year, Jones played actually more games than Purdy did this year. If you look at them, Jones actually was the more efficient and better quarterback in almost every category. We're talking yards per play. We're talking completion percentage. We're talking about total yards. We're talking about touchdown to interception ratio. All the way down the line, a $55 million guy versus a $6 million guy, and you're getting better numbers out of the $6 million guy. So, what do you do if you're the 49ers
Just
next
numbers.
year? Do you just run it back with all these old guys? Do you reconstruct this roster? What do you do with this team that just can't stay healthy?
I don't know. I'd probably trade an important piece and I'd try and get multiple players out of it and just go for depth.
And do you stick with Purdy and stay with 55 million a year? Or do you go with,
Yeah. Yeah, he's
Jones,
awesome.
who's the guy who's giving you better
Purdy's
numbers?
always the top 3 in QBR. He's efficient. He got hurt, so a lot of his numbers suffered, but yeah, his decision making is unbelievable.
Do you keep
Yesterday,
Jones
they
as
just
your
got
backup?
overwhelmed by a team at home that was fired up.
Yeah.
They're a more talented team. They're not injured. They just beat the heck out of the beat up Niners. They couldn't.
Do you
They cried uncle.
do you think
If
the
there was an
Niners?
MMA match, they're tapping out.
That's right. Do you think there's a situation where the 49ers in this offseason have to do a little bit of, it's maybe not a rebuild, but maybe a
Yeah,
retool of
yeah.
their
They need to
roster?
get some more young guys in there. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what it seems
yeah.
like.
But that's not a rebuild. A rebuild is like get rid of all your veterans and bring in all. I mean, they didn't have um their best wide receiver all year.
I know.
They're missing Fred Warner most of the year, best linebacker in football. Nick Bosa was out most of the season, and they were able to
Hmm.
keep winning in a
I
good
know.
division.
Yeah, it
Like
was crazy. 12-5,
good,
pretty good.
good coaching, and it's solid leadership from the players like McCaffrey and
Do you agree
Purdy.
it's not a rebuild, it's a retool?
It's a retool. They have problems. They have needs, but
Yeah,
anybody who makes it to this level, it does not need to rebuild.
right. What do you think they can do to
Rebuild
keep their?
or fire their coaches. By the way, nobody
What can they
makes it this
do?
deep should fire their coach.
No, everyone thinks Shanahan and Salah should be, whether it's coach of the year, assistant coach of the year, at least in consideration. There's no question that what they did
I
with
think
this
Salah
roster.
should be assistant coach of the year.
But I'm just talking about
What
going forward. What can they do to get better? So,
depth. You need more players that aren't, when you get hurt, you got to get rid of some bad contracts and
mhm.
you'll be okay. They need help at wide
Yeah,
receiver. Juwan Jennings is
yeah,
doing it alone out there.
he is.
Running backs, you get Brian Robinson and you don't use him. Why?
Right. I know.
What he carried it, I don't know, 3 times,
I
something like
didn't
that.
understand that at all, the way they used him
Why
this
get
year.
Brian Robinson if he's just gonna he was returning kicks.
I know.
He was
I know.
returning, what was he returning?
Didn't
Punts,
make any
right?
sense.
No, he
And
was
you
returning
agree?
kickoffs. Like, what are
Do you
you
feel
doing?
like the Seahawks have the best roster in football, top to bottom?
No, but it's really close. They're the best that's left. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty
Yeah.
close if they aren't. So this
Yeah,
next
they're
game,
top 3.
Texans Patriots happened on Sunday, 28-16. This was kind of a
This one.
weird game. It was really
Yeah.
strange because, to be quite honest with you, Robbie, Drake May, who you and I love, has not
Mm,
played very well in these playoffs.
mm-mm. He's
He's
had
just
2 stinkers in a row.
he's just been okay. He's been
Yeah.
not great, and they did run the ball decently well. Even the touchdowns he did have, like the one he had to Boutte, was the most unbelievable catch of the year,
Boutte
one-handed.
looked great. He's so
And,
good this year.
but if you look at that pass, it was not a great pass.
Yeah.
He just caught it. But what is your take on this game and CJ Stroud's struggles?
Okay, so you know that I'm a guy that thinks that the NFL fires coaches too quickly. I
Hmm.
also think we give up on young quarterbacks too quickly. A lot of quarterbacks, the light doesn't go on until year 7. The fact that, Baker Mayfield all of a sudden looks like a potential MVP candidate going into the last few games of the year, he was still in contention. Um, Tom Brady didn't really click until year 7. There's a lot of great quarterbacks out there who don't get it right away. Peyton Manning has the most rookie interception record, and he ended up being one of the greats. Uh, Peyton Manning was 3-12, no, 3-13 his first year. Troy Aikman was 1-15. If back in the day they gave up on quarterbacks as quickly as we do now,
But
um, they half our superstars wouldn't
but
be
you
there.
can't tell me there hasn't been regression with CJ Stroud from 2 years ago. If you would ask me, would you take CJ Stroud or Bryce Young 2 years ago? I would have said
I think
Stroud.
there,
If
I
you
think there
said
was,
last year,
I
I
think
would
it's
have said
hard to,
Stroud.
I think it's hard to say because his weapons went away, so he was left with much
Uh,
less talent around him.
I think that's too simplistic. I really do. He really
No, no, no. I
regresses.
think it's too simplistic to blame the quarterback for everything. I think
I'm not
you
blaming him
have
for
to look
everything.
at who's he. I didn't say you were. I'm saying the people who are trying to get rid of Stroud are not
I'm
serious
saying
football
he
fans who
regressed this year,
understand
and
how it
what do
works.
we? I'm not saying
I
give
don't
up on
think he
him.
regressed. The offense regressed because they have less talent.
He
You
was
have
20 for 47
Nico Collins, who is in and out of the lineup constantly, and he was the only target that Stroud had.
on a day where Will Anderson and the defense were eating, and Will Anderson, by the way, is completely unblockable.
Yep.
And yet there's no complimentary football because you have a quarterback
No.
who threw 4 picks. The team had
Yep.
5 turnovers and really should have had 8 turnovers or a couple right in the New England hands, and they dropped them.
Hmm.
Would you have pulled him at halftime? I mean, he's sitting there with 4 picks. Would you have put in Davis Mills, who sometimes is a steadying
I
hand?
I might have actually. I might
I
have.
might have
But
too.
that doesn't mean I've given up on him for the future.
Well, I know that. Yeah.
There's times where somebody needs to see the field from the sideline and get a
I
little
think I
handle
would have
on,
I think I would have pulled him because you have to think he had 4 picks the week before too, and they won.
and they were
So
ugly picks. Yeah, they
yeah,
were
so
ugly
I
picks.
just I think I would have pulled him, but the coach
I
was
might have.
saying that he
I
didn't
might have.
feel like
But
he
at the
could do
same
that.
time, I'm not going to sit here and really agree with the idea that he was the biggest problem of this team. The biggest problem of this team was a lack of talent on offense.
Do you
Their
think he
offense
needs?
completely let down their defense. Their defense dominated.
Do you think he needs a quarterback whisperer as OC?
Yes. This is what I told you earlier. It's not that you need to get rid of him. You need to bring somebody in to help him. And that's not only weapons, he needs better wide receivers and better tight end situation. I mean, if Dalton Schultz is going to get hurt, sometimes who else you got? You need two of them. Um,
I mean, and what
their
do you
running
do with
game
this?
was their running game was pitiful, and they have Nick Chubb. Like, what does that tell you? That's a problem.
Woody Marks had 17 yards. He was their leading rusher
I know. That's what I'm saying.
in a playoff game, and
They
you're
had
trying to help your
2.2 yards per carry, Tom. 2.2 yards per carry. It's not
you're
going to get
trying
it
to
done in the playoffs.
when you have a struggling young quarterback who you're trying to bring along. The best thing you can do is run the ball. That's the
Run the
best
ball and throw to
friend
your
of a
tight
quarterback.
end. Run the
Yeah.
ball, throw to your tight end. His tight end was out. His best receiver was out, and they couldn't run the ball. He's getting blamed for a completely depleted offense, and he had a bad game too. He doesn't share zero blame, but I think this idea that he needs to take 100% of it is insane. It's
Some of
insane.
those throws, though, Robbie. Oh
I
God!
know they
If
were
you're a Texans
desperation
fan,
throws. They
painful.
were desperation throws.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
so
painful.
a lot of credit to New England's defense. Houston's defense had 5 sacks and 9 tackles for loss and an interception. Um, the New England's defense also played well. They had 3 sacks, 6 tackles for loss, and they forced 5 turnovers. So
Hmm.
both defenses were dominating. Just there was no offense on Houston's side to try to balance it towards points. But
Right.
Yeah, 2.2 yards a carry for Houston is not going to get it done. Um, and the truth is, May was so-so. He had 4 fumbles and he lost
He was
2 of
not
them.
great. He was not
He
great.
was
Yeah.
not great. He was almost bad enough to make this close.
You had 8
And then
turnovers in this
and
game.
then and then what are we saying that he can't play either? Like he didn't play well. It was hard. These environments were really rough. They were
True.
rough environments.
True.
Not only is
100%.
it great defenses you're playing against, but it's like snow,
You got
sideways
2 young
sleet.
quarterbacks, and what do you get out of it? You get 8 turnovers with 2 great defenses. That's what you
That's what I'm
get.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think these need to be played in warm weather cities where it's good weather, and let's see what these teams can really do. But that's a whole
Mhm.
separate discussion.
Yeah.
Butte was one of the best players I saw in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was great.
Unbelievable, incredible.
I thought
And
Stevenson ran it pretty well. He had some really nice runs.
the Pats are 15 of their last 16 games,
Yeah, I know.
15 wins. That's
Incredible.
good. Hmm.
Really well coached. They've got a great culture. They don't turn on each other. They stick together as a team. They do the little things well. The Patriots
Yeah,
do. They came into this game a 3-point favorite at home, and of course took care of business pretty comfortably because of all the turnovers. So, do
right.
you think this game says more about the Texans or more about the Patriots heading into the
I think
final?
it's I think it says more about home field advantage in the playoffs, where if you're a cold weather city, you have a decided advantage, and it forces teams to become something they're not, and it plays to your advantage. 8 turnovers in this game was the most in a playoff game since 2015.
Right, right. You know, you
And
and
that
I've
was
been
almost
saying,
exclusively caused by lots of weather factors.
you and I've been saying
Cold
the entire
hands,
season.
wide receivers running routes and getting like just discombobulated.
And this goes back to the question: why are these guys struggling with the cold hands in the cold weather, and Matthew Stafford is not? You know, that it was just a curiosity to
No,
me.
Matthew Stafford was. He didn't have a good game, and he's amazing. He's the best
Oh, he
quarterback
had
in football, and he
they had
struggled. He even said it wasn't my best game, but what he
true.
was money on was the last drive.
Well,
Money.
last drive, but
All right.
also there were no drops by any of his receivers, so there was
Oh
a really
yeah.
clean game
The
there.
Rams were well coached.
They had one
No,
penalty,
they had one. They had one penalty.
right?
No drops. No turnovers.
Right.
No mistakes. They
That's what I'm
had
trying to
eight
figure out. How did
They
they do
had
that?
8 punts. They punted the ball 8 times. So that meant
Yeah,
they were playing old school. We're going to keep the score low.
right.
We're going to let our defense go out there and hold them. We're
And
not
pin
going
them
to
back.
make a big mistake. We're not going for it on
Hmm.
4th and 4, fourth and
Hmm.
2, and get stopped and have all the momentum swing. We're going to
Hmm.
punt the ball and we're going to play defense. We're going to try and drive, get stopped, punt the ball, play defense. And we're going to
So
keep the score low, and we're going to wait for our opportunity. And then Matthew Stafford is going to do his thing at some point in this game. Perfect coaching.
going forward, the Texans they need more help on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, they need more offensive linemen.
Yeah. Yeah.
They've got to find a guy who can bring C.J. Stroud along because
They
my
need a
personal
running
belief
back, a
is he's
couple
been
offensive linemen, and another wide receiver.
my thought
That
is
was the
he's
start there.
regressed, so he needs a guy to bring him along like he was doing in his rookie year. And then they need to figure out how to get him to play better in cold weather because he's going
I
to end up
don't think we know if he regressed
going
or
to
not.
Kansas City.
I
He's
think
going to go
we're
to
we're
Kansas City.
blaming him. We're blaming him for the offensive deficiencies, which was caused a lot by personnel problems.
He's going to go to Kansas City. He's going to go to Baltimore. He's going to go to Buffalo. He's going to go all these places, and he's going to be playing in
Yeah.
cold weather. And so
I don't
that's
know.
just reality, you
He
know.
needs more help.
Yeah.
Let me put it to you this way. Let me put it to you this way. If he had Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams running into the secondary, he would have looked much better yesterday.
Probably.
That's a fact. That's a fact because they would have not let some of those balls get intercepted. They would have outmuscled some of those guys for the catch. They would have knocked some of
Mhm.
those balls down. They would have
Right.
not just let their quarterback get murdered out there.
Right.
You know, it was a personnel problem.
And you know what? I really like D'Amico Ryans and I like that staff. I think they got to go back to
Yeah,
the drawing board on the running game. They've got to have a running game.
I
They can't
agree.
they can't have these games like this.
No,
It
I
just
agree.
doesn't
They have
work.
no running game and no one to throw to. So what do you do?
Right.
That's a
Exactly.
personnel problem. They have a personnel problem. They
It's
need
true.
a lineman or two, a running back, a wide receiver. Those are your top
Hmm.
four needs. And then
Hmm.
a backup tight end. They might have one on the roster, but sure didn't seem like much yesterday. I don't know.
And a quarterback
But
whisperer, OC.
yeah,
So
yeah.
speaking of Puka Nakua and Devontae Adams, the Rams go to the Chicago Bears in 3-degree
Great
weather
game.
on a
Great game.
brutal field that kept getting whiter and whiter as the game went on. It was crazy to watch.
Yeah.
And you had these two quarterbacks that have been playing at a really high level this year. You did have Caleb Williams throw 3 interceptions in this game. I thought the Rams played a much better defensive game than they had been playing recently. Um, you had a couple really key plays on their first drive for the Rams. Then basically both teams did nothing in the second and third quarter. And then you had the Rams pick it up in the fourth and have another really nice drive where they had some great catches to Puka and to Devontae. But for the most part, I felt like the defense has dominated the middle portion of this game. What were your thoughts of this game and what came out of the stats?
Well, I think that the Bears D was a little exposed, even though they played well in the middle of the game there. They they
Mm-hmm.
they played well most of the game, but at a certain point, Matthew Stafford was Matthew Stafford, and they
He
couldn't
was.
really do much about it. They couldn't do much about it. So, um, it was a very interesting game. It was fantastic coaching. Um,
I can't
the
believe any team can play this clean a game in the snow like the Rams did. I just am stunned that
Yeah,
that a warm weather team can play this well.
they played amazing. They punted the ball 8 times because they got stopped a bunch of times. They did not do anything stupid on fourth down. They had their stars were stars. I mean, when it all came down, Nakua and um Devontae Adams made big plays when they needed to. Okay. And Stafford made big plays when it was absolutely necessary.
And then
They came through.
Caleb Williams made the throw of the playoffs. I mean, there's just no
Yeah.
question that throw
Yeah.
backing. He was 26 yards behind the line of scrimmage when he threw it,
No doubt.
and somehow finds a guy in the back of the end zone to tie it up to take it to overtime,
No
which never
question.
should have happened. I do look at his numbers though. I'm looking at 23 of 42. First of all, he's
Yeah.
throwing way too many times,
Way too many times.
and
Yeah.
his percentage is 50% complete. That's just not good enough.
I really
Uh,
like the improvement he showed this year,
Me
but
too.
he's still got a long way to go.
He does. He really does.
But I think he's
But
got the coaching apparatus around him to make
I
that
will say
improvement.
they were committed to the run, and so were the Rams. Both teams were really
Hmm.
trying to run it. Deontay Swift, I thought, did not have a great day. He got 76 yards, but there were a lot of times he was
Yeah.
stuffed on big plays, and they
Well,
had
the
to punt the ball.
defense, I'll tell you, the Rams defense played really well. I
They
mean,
did. They did.
giving up 17 points to a high-powered offense, and they had some big stops. They did. I mean, they had that goal line, not goal line stand, but they stopped them down on like the 3 or something. Um,
And of
and
course, this is another game.
DeAndre Swift tried to hurdle a guy, and he absolutely jacked him out of the sky, he knocked him down. Um, I was pretty impressed with the Rams
I
defense, to
was
be
too.
honest with
And I will say
you.
this is another game where the team that loses the turnover battle loses the game. You can't have three
Yeah,
turnovers against the Rams who play a clean sheet
yeah,
and try to win that game. We're in a situation with Caleb. I think he's improved tremendously, but in some ways he looks a little bit like Josh Allen a couple of years ago. You'll have the
yeah.
feast or famine play. You've got the really bad pick over the middle, and then his next one is a long bomb touchdown to DJ Moore. You get the good and the bad with Caleb.
I'll tell
And
you, I like DJ Moore a lot, but he had some really questionable plays in this game.
yeah.
There were two times in this game where I felt like he didn't make the play on the ball that allowed an interception.
Hmm.
Actually, no, the one in the end zone, it wasn't an interception. It was an incomplete pass that he did not fight hard
Hmm.
for. The other one was the one in overtime where he ran a really soft route and they showed him he was jogging.
Hmm.
He was jogging on that interception
Yeah, apparently
by
the
Cam
Bears
Curl.
apparently the Bears fans have been going crazy over that. The fact that
Yeah.
he wasn't all out. What's
He
interesting
was
is he had
jogging across and when that throw came, it was a terrible throw by Caleb. Cam Curl lays out and does a beautiful interception. And DJ Moore didn't make any kind of play towards the ball, didn't sprint, didn't start sprinting when he saw what was happening. He just softly let them get the pick, and that was the end of the game. All they had to do was move the ball a tiny bit and kick the field goal. Kick,
Right.
you know, what's his name? Harrison Mevis,
Exactly right.
42 yards.
But
And that
what's
was the
interesting
game.
is
So,
they're going crazy over that, and they should. I mean, anytime a guy gives up on a play like
mhm.
that, but at the same time, you look at the season DJ Moore had; it was unbelievable. It's his best season ever.
No question.
It
And I
was really
like him. And
fantastic.
I think he's a great receiver. I think that he lollygagged a couple times in this game that
Yeah.
really hurt his team.
So
And another thing with Caleb, I saw flashes of brilliance. One of the greatest retreat,
what a
throw it off
throw!
your back foot,
What a throw!
probably 70 yards in the air or whatever. They weren't that he backed up probably 40 yards. Um,
Yeah.
but
Officially, they said he
I
was
will
26
say,
yards behind the line of scrimmage when he threw it.
you
That's what
know,
they
when it
officially.
all came down though, when it all came down, he made some mental errors.
He did.
He
He's
made
still young.
mistakes down the final stretch. And do you know on that interception, he had a 10-yard check down to get a first down. All they needed was 10 more yards to get a field goal.
Right. That's
That was a
exactly right.
disastrous decision. That was the dumbest decision of the whole day, I
And
think.
that was something that the panel said afterwards. If you watch the coverage after the game, was they were all talking
Yeah.
about. They said, "Look, the feast or famine aspect of him. They like where
Yeah.
he's going. They like how he's developing.
It
But they're
reminded me
like,
of Favre.
he's not quite there yet. He makes bad decisions at times that can kill you. And
It reminds me of
mm,
Favre. Favre
yeah,
had this trajectory of when his window was open, you could win Super Bowls. It
yeah.
was kind of the same thing with Cam Newton.
And I don't think Caleb's window's quite open yet, but I do think just talking about going forward for these two teams, the Bears are in a
Yeah.
really good position. They've got a great coaching staff.
Yeah.
I think Ben McDonald is. I think Ben Johnson is a fantastic coach. He's become kind of the villain this year because of some of the
Yeah.
comments he made about the Packers. But
Yeah. He was
no
pretty
matter with that or
uncool.
not, he turned this kid around who was terrible last year, and he's made him pretty good.
I
And they've got
agree.
a nice roster, and they're in a good position in that division.
Yeah. The work he's done with Caleb is spectacular.
He's about 80% of the way there as the quarterback right now, is
Yeah.
what I think. And as long as Ben Johnson's behind him and continue to develop him
Yeah. I
next year,
agree.
they're in a good place.
He's in the right hands. He's in the right hands. But um, you know,
And then,
the Bears had 7 fourth quarter comebacks this year. That's living on the edge, man.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
actually, the Bills were the same way.
Yeah,
They
well,
had
no,
so
he
many
had
fourth
he
quarters.
had Jaden Daniels year from last year. That's why the Commanders are so good last year and went all the way to the NFC
Yeah,
Championship because they kept winning last second.
you cannot sustain fourth quarter comebacks
Do you know what
and
Nick
make it
Wright said
all the
about
way to the
this?
Super Bowl.
He said something funny today, Nick Wright, about Caleb Williams. He said, "I wish that we could find a person out there who could somehow get into his head, kind of like one of those life coaches,
Yeah,
and convince him that he's 7 points down at all times in the game, even if they're up. Convince him they're 7 points down because there's
I
something
love that.
about him that he loves to come from behind. It's just the kind of player he is.
Yeah,
So,
Matt Stafford's got that.
so quickly, we got to talk about this scandal that came up, and you and I talked about it off air. But the Rams were a -3.5 point favorite. The over under was 49.5, and a lot of people are curious about why the defenders acted the way they did on that long bomb by Caleb. It seemed like there were two Rams players in the area, and they didn't seem to
Actually,
act on the ball
there
or
were
the player.
actually two separate touchdowns
Yeah,
where the Rams defenders didn't seem super interested in playing the ball.
yeah.
And it wasn't even
So
that they were like just behind.
it's
They were
really
like moving
curious.
away from the ball. It was
It's really
strange.
curious the way they acted on that play. I mean, they both went the other direction from the ball and the player. It would be okay
Yeah.
if they went away from the ball, but if they went away from the player too. Any thought about that and how this game ends
No,
up a 3 point game and comes in
I'm
just
not a
under
conspiracy theorist, but I'll tell you that game gave the conspiracy theorists a lot of material to
a
work
lot
with
of
because
ammunition? Yeah,
what the heck was that those both it was double coverage and both of them departed from the tight end
right,
temporarily.
right.
and
Yeah.
Cole Kmet, and it just doesn't make sense. Like it didn't make sense, and both of them pointed at each other like you should have had him, and I'm thinking, no, you both should have played the ball. Like the ball's in the air. This
I personally don't
touchdown,
think anything's going to come of it, and a lot of times
no.
nothing comes of it. But that's the kind of thing I wish they could have some kind of investigation on, just to figure out if there
Yeah,
was
it
something
looked
going
weird.
on there.
And actually,
Yeah,
there was a play earlier where their tight end got wide open in the end zone when the defender just left him. Like
that's
it
right.
didn't make any sense.
Right.
There was no
Well,
pump fake to draw the defender. It was
it
just
was
I don't
very
know.
curious. Very
I'm
curious.
not gonna sit here and say there was you know shenanigans, but it was
Right.
very strange defense play.
Let's talk about the coaching carousel. You have 10 openings right now. As of today, the McDermott opening in Buffalo. You have Stefanski has already accepted the job in Atlanta, and John Harbaugh took the job in New York with the Giants. I do wonder if both of those guys wish that they held out another week to see if they could get the Buffalo job. Personally, I think that's the best job with Josh
I
Allen and a
wouldn't
ready-made playoff team.
I
But
wouldn't
that's
want the
just me.
Buffalo job at all.
That's just me. I would 100%.
In fact, I would put Buffalo only above the Raiders and the Browns.
I think that any coach worth their salt knows that they've got 5 years or less to make an impact. And the last thing you want to do is go to a franchise that doesn't have a franchise quarterback and a team that can
But that's
carry you
too
in the playoff.
simplistic.
Yeah,
Their roster is super deficient because their Brandon Bean, their GM is terrible.
he is
And
terrible. He is
and
terrible.
so what you're hoping is that all of a sudden Brandon Bean is going to magically put talent around Josh Allen for next year and the year
What I
after.
don't
It's
want to
not going
do
to
is I
happen.
don't.
He's going to misfire on all these draft picks that they have. He's going to misfire on free agency. He's going to let deadlines go by. He's not going to do anything, and you're going to
I'm gonna.
once again be sitting there saying poor Josh Allen has no talent around him, and Brandon Bean's like, yeah, he's got no talent around him. Let me give me one more draft. Like, how many more drafts does he need? They're going in the wrong direction on roster.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm taking a team that has an established starter. Period. I'm not going to the Cardinals. They have a mess at the QB
Well then,
position.
well then take Baltimore and draft
I'm
defensive players, and then you're
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Baltimore is a great job. I agree.
Yeah,
I wouldn't go to Cleveland. I wouldn't go to
no,
Pittsburgh. I wouldn't go to Tennessee. Miami, maybe if they're going to draft a
I
quarterback.
might go to Pittsburgh.
Las Vegas, yes, because they're going to get Mendoza, and they have a pretty nice roster building. So tell
Maybe.
me, who's the best job on this list, and who's the worst job on this list?
Um, you know, talent wise, Atlanta. I mean, if you think about their running game, their defense dramatically improved over the last 2 years.
You
They
think
went from third.
Stefanski? That was a nice choice for him because he
That was a nice choice.
went to a
They
weak
have
division.
Mooney, they have London, they have Pitts at tight end. They've got a young quarterback coming up. They got Cousins as a starter.
Hmm.
And then they switch in the young guy as soon as feels like he's ready. Um,
Hmm.
their defense is improving. I think Atlanta's the best job. I think New York Giants is pretty good too. I'd say probably the best job is Baltimore, closely followed by Atlanta and the Giants.
But who's the Atlanta's quarterback? Like, I'm really worried about that quarterback situation. So
I
that's
think
my
Penix
thing.
is Penix is ready when he's ready, and you've got Cousins, who's a very good quarterback, um,
To me,
steadily
you got
manning the thing, trying to get you into the playoffs.
to me, you get the quarterback right first, then you get the coach right, then you get the defense right, then you get the running game right. That's how you build it. And if you're one of these teams that has none of those things, I'm not coming anywhere close to you. And to
Let me
me,
put it to you
Atlanta's
this way:
QB situation is not great.
who's got a better offense and defense and quarterback situation than Atlanta?
Almost everybody.
All of them together.
The Ravens, the Bills, the
None of them have the
Giants,
running back
the
except the
Giants,
Bills do.
the Giants, Las Vegas because they're about to have Mendoza.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
yeah. So I'll tell you, my
I
best job on this list is either Baltimore or Buffalo by far. My third
not
best
Buffalo.
would be Las Vegas with Mendoza. So that'd be my third.
Mm,
My worst job on this list would be either Arizona or Cleveland. I'm not touching those franchises. At least Tennessee has a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, Cleveland's a mess.
Cleveland's terrible. Arizona's
Let
terrible.
let me
And
put it to you this way. I'm not
Tennessee
going
is a
anywhere
nightmare.
that's a mess. You know what's a mess? Cleveland's a mess. Buffalo's a mess. Arizona's a mess. Um, Miami's a mess. I
Buffalo's not
hate
a
to
mess.
I hate to
They should
admit
be in the
that.
AFC Championship game.
Buffalo's a mess.
How could they be a
Buffalo's a
mess?
mess.
Yeah, I
Because
disagree.
they're not a mess because they have Josh Allen. They're a mess. They're a mess plus Josh Allen's good. Like it's their GM's terrible.
They may be in a little
You
bit
know?
in purgatory. I agree, but a mess is not what they are.
Go look at
They're
their
not.
offensive and defensive personnel. It's
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
Josh Allen is masking how bad it is there. That's really what I'm saying.
How do
So
you
don't
think
go there. And by the way, Brandon Bean with his picks are going to make them worse over several years. They're going to
so
continue to decline.
the announcement about an hour ago for Miami's coach coming out of the Green Bay Packers, the defensive coordinator? How do you think he's going to feel about that roster, and what are some of their needs going forward?
Well, I mean, a lot depends on um, who they keep and which expensive veteran are they going to keep and who's going to be play calling for their offense and but it's going to help their defense a lot. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it'll
I'm
be
very
interesting.
concerned.
Guys, drop us a
Overall.
comment and tell us what do you think's the best job on this list? What do you think's the worst job on this list? Tell us who you think is best and worst, and if you agree with Rob or me. Obviously, I think it's Baltimore or Buffalo, and I think the worst
I
is
will
Arizona.
say Tennessee's pretty far away from being good. Like
Yeah, yeah, they are.
they've got so many
We
needs.
don't really know if Ward's good. We're not going to know for a while. So
I mean, even if Ward's good, that if Ward's great, they're the Buffalo Bills. I mean, like, you know,
isn't isn't Pittsburgh kind of a mess? I mean, Pittsburgh's a little bit of a mess. They're getting
mm-mm.
older on the defensive side.
They need defense.
They don't have a lot of
They need
weapons.
a couple defensive players, and they need another wide receiver.
Hmm. And they need a
I
running
think their
back,
running
probably.
game could get going.
Yeah, we'll see. So some of
I
the
mean,
memes for this week, we got both NFL conference championship games are Sean versus Mike. That was kind of interesting. Little
yeah.
dichotomy there. The Panthers say we're missing a guy on offense who can make a 5-yard catch and go the distance. And my question to you, Robbie, is doesn't every team want a Tyreek Hill?
Yeah.
It's not like you can just find them all over the place. But
No, they're not growing on trees.
I like that he knows that we're missing that element. That you love those kind of swing guys who can take it to the house.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope we find it in the draft for sure.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson all seeing Josh Allen check into their hotel in Cancun.
Mhm. That's
Don't you
funny.
think these guys watch each other? I mean, they all admire each other. They
Yeah,
all watch
some,
each other,
yeah.
what they do.
Yeah,
They
that's why
must.
they congratulate each other at the end of each game and they go
You know,
spend a minute.
yeah. Now they're all in Cancun together.
Yeah.
This was pretty cool. Pictures taken at Auburn in 2018.
Yeah, that's
Jarrett
cool.
Stidham was the starter, and Bo Nix was a high school recruit coming to check out
Yeah,
Auburn.
I like that.
That's kind of a cool picture there.
I think people are going to be surprised at his competence.
Now he's
He's going to
backing
be
him up.
decent. Stidham's going to be decent.
So this picture about Ben Johnson with the humble pie, how did he in one season go from the best hire last offseason, which he is, there's no question,
Mhm.
to now being the villain of the NFL and everybody wants him to lose? Like, how did
Because
that
he's
happen?
being disrespectful to the other coaching fraternity, and so they're all shunning him.
Yeah. And the fans seem to be following. They're all like rooting against him now.
Yeah, because he's disrespectful to his division rivals. He should be like gracious and just tell his team, "I want to beat these guys. I hate them." But go in front of a microphone. You shouldn't say that.
No, you
You're
shouldn't.
giving all kinds of bulletin board material.
He didn't handle it well the last couple of press conferences.
No, he's a rookie too. He's a
Do you think he
rookie
can pull this
also.
back out? Do you think he can get back to
Yeah,
likable again?
yeah.
You do?
Time heals everything, and
Yeah.
he'll figure it out. But he
Yeah.
needs to act different, not so cocky.
Right. No, that's true.
He should
So
he
this,
should do the shirt off in the locker room and then do that once, and then let that be his mystique, and then be gracious and a good guy that you know what I mean. Like you
so
can't
you and I
be.
look at this. You and I look at this every year when we look at the rating you would get if you spiked every single play into the ground is
Yep.
39.6. and he had a
Mhm.
28 this past weekend.
He
And
was
what's funny is
terrible.
last weekend a win, he had a 37.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple of really bad weeks for CJ, and he's
Yeah.
got to get himself together here because this is not
He's
good enough.
dying. He's dying without a real receiving core.
Yeah, something's got to happen.
Yeah.
This is another graphic that I just couldn't believe, like how sloppy the games were this weekend.
Yeah.
These quarterbacks really were struggling.
All all were driven by bad weather.
You think so?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. It was a full demonstration of what happens when you're playing in these outdoor environments where it's 7 degrees, howling winds,
Trying to get
low
the ball through the
scoring.
air. Yeah. So why weren't they
Yeah.
running the ball, for God's sakes?
I have no idea
I don't get it.
because the modern coaches think that nobody wants you to run the ball, but they do. But I don't know.
Why is it that you and I know that and we're not
I
coaches
don't
and these
know.
guys don't run the ball? I just don't get
I
it.
don't know.
Baltimore
It's
did the same thing
perplexing,
last year. Yeah.
completely
And,
bewildering. I don't know.
and they've got Derrick Henry.
I know. There's no
Oh,
excuse.
this was interesting, Robbie. Another conspiracy theory. The NFL tried to tell us the script and we all missed it. You see the last four guys all up front there. And this is a graphic that came out in early December. So there's this conspiracy that, the NFL wanted these four teams and
Yeah.
they wanted Seattle versus Denver. They wanted. So any
Eh, not
truth
buying it.
reality to that, or is it just luck?
Not buying it.
Yeah.
I mean, Knicks isn't even playing, so
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying.
It's kind of
No, I think
interesting,
this is
though,
just random luck.
but it gives conspiracy theorists fuel. This is what they live
Sure.
on. So, yeah.
But on a certain level, like we do what we do because we enjoy talking
Yeah.
about sports. And
Right.
so the talking heads and the pundits out there, they get so excited and all that, and that's cool.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, you know, there's a lot of luck in this stuff.
It's true.
You could play really poorly one day and you get smacked and you're out. And there's also luck. Like, let me give you an example. New England probably has the easiest path to Super Bowl I've ever seen. The
It's
Patriots are
true.
about to probably be in the Super Bowl, and they have the easiest run that you will ever see,
They really
most
didn't beat
likely.
anybody at the end of the season either. Like
They
the last
beat
seven
they
games
beat
were all
Herbert.
fun.
They beat Herbert, whose offensive line was completely not there, and their defense wasn't playing very well at all. So and honestly, May wasn't great in that game either. So they beat Herbert with no offensive line, and they beat the heck out of Herbert. Next, they played Stroud,
Whose offense has
who
completely
who
collapsed.
whose offenses
Yeah.
collapsed, had four
Yeah.
picks in the first half,
I
and
know.
and like you said, he could have spiked the ball every down and had a better QBR.
Hmm.
That's terrifying. And then their next game's against Jared Stidham.
It's
You know what I
true.
mean? Like that's the
Yeah.
easiest path ever, ever, ever to get to the Super Bowl.
So let's talk about our subscriber challenge question for the week. It's a two-part question. The first one is our NFC Championship matchup this coming weekend. This is a Sunday 6:30 game. This is the Rams and Seahawks. We've been saying for a while now we thought these were the two best teams in the NFC, and now they've matched up. This game's going to be in Seattle. It's going to be incredibly cold. The 12th man will be very geeked up. They'll be pounding the drum, and it's going to be really exciting. There's a lot of good players on both sides. So, Robbie, what's your early lean on this game?
It's gonna be really hard to play in Seattle.
Yeah.
I I think Seattle's gonna be able to run the ball and play defense. But I will say I think that I will not be surprised if Stafford finds a way.
Hmm.
I know that's splitting the fence and all that, but
So, are you picking Rams or Seattle?
I want to pick the Rams, but I think Seattle.
I've got Seattle by a touchdown. I think it's going to be a really good
I
game. I think
I'll
that
be shocked if it's a blowout.
it won't be a blowout. It'll be a touchdown game. I think Stafford will keep them in it. I think he'll play really well. I just think Seattle's defense is way too much this year. I think they're going
I
to be
think
all over the Rams.
Verse and those guys are gonna be a real problem for
Yeah.
Darnold.
I think in the end, it's like a 34-27 type game. I think it'll be really exciting. I'm really excited about this
and
game.
and
Sometimes,
Nakua and Devontae are unguardable.
They are. It's true.
So I don't know, man.
You'll see some
I
plays
don't
from
know.
Smith and Jigba. You'll see Kenneth Walker getting free.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great game. I'm excited about this one.
Kyron Williams is gonna have at least one touchdown.
I've got the Seahawks by a touchdown in that one. So what about the next game, which is the 3 p.m. game, the early window, AFC Championship game? You've got a Broncos team without Bo Nix and a guy who hadn't thrown the ball in 3.5 years against a flawed Patriots team that hasn't played that well on offense this playoffs.
I think the Patriots win because their path's so easy. I think Stidham, it's an unfair situation to throw him in there like that. Go win the AFC Championship game for us, please. But
Doesn't it feel like it's gonna be really low scoring? I mean, neither team can run the ball very well.
I mean,
Feels like it'll
maybe
be.
I don't know. It could be a lot of turnovers that give a lot of easy points to New England, and then it starts to get to roll out of control. But
I
yeah, I
think
don't
the
know.
Broncos end up with a lot of field goals. Patriots a little bit more points. I've got Patriots 17, Broncos 13, something like that. It's gonna be really cold in Denver. I mean, really cold.
Yeah,
Um, so I've got
yeah.
17-13 Patriots. So guys, drop us a comment. Who do you think is going to win these two games and go to the Super Bowl? Let us know.
I think they're gonna be surprised at Stidham.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
and hmm, I'm not gonna be surprised at all if Stidham's able to make it a game where anybody can win there at the end. So we'll
So
see.
any surprises on the All Pro team this year, Robbie, for first team? Stafford, Bijan Robinson, Juszczyk is the fullback, Puka,
Yeah,
Smith and Jigba, Jamar Chase, Christian McCaffrey, Trey McBride. Man, what a year he had.
he was awesome.
Garrett Bowles at left tackle, Tooney,
He was
Humphrey,
awesome.
Miniers, and
Penny Sewell, nuts.
Sewell, who you love. I mean, what a
Yeah,
team that is.
yeah, that's a
Oh
good
my
one.
goodness. Nobody would beat that team, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
I'm going to hand it over to you, man.
Okay, so uh playoff vibes on point. Football was fire. The sports guys never miss. At Alex Robin. So thank you, Alex.
Alex, that's awesome, man. Thanks so much. Great comment.
Next one, short, sharp, and entertainment. Love it. Abu Sufyan.
Hey, thanks, Abu. We like that you think it's short and on point. That's what we're trying to do.
Let's see. Next one. NFL playoffs and sports guys equals perfect combo. 100% fire. Episode 104 captured the chaos, drama, and excitement of the wild card round flawlessly. Can't wait for the next reaction. At Tahaminikur. I don't know how you
Wow.
say that name. That's
Well,
pretty
that's
cool.
awesome, man. Thanks so much for the comment. And we're trying our best to bring you the best content. So we appreciate it.
Yeah. Next one. Man, these NFL wildcard games were crazy, and your reactions made them even better. Spot on analysis mixed with real fan emotion. This is how playoff football content should be done.
Wow. That's a huge compliment from you guys who all love football content. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And then of course I gotta do our DPT coach, his
Mr.
weekly
Rick.
comment. Mr.
Mhm.
Rick. Seahawks, Bills would be the best game.
Seahawks,
And
Bills. Well, the
that's what
Bills
he's
didn't happen, but that would have
that's
been
what
a
he
great
felt.
game. There's no doubt.
I agree.
It would have been a great game. But yeah, I think Seahawks will get there. Thanks, Rick.
I think it's gonna be Seahawks, Patriots.
Yeah, me too.
And I'll have to tell you about who I think's gonna win after that
We'll
next
tell you
time.
next week. Yeah, we'll tell you
Yeah.
next week. That's awesome.
Yep. And that's it for the mailbag.
Well, Robbie, we got two great games this weekend. Any final thoughts for the fans? We're getting towards the end of the season here. We got the college football playoff championship game tonight. That'll be fun.
Yep. Excited to go watch that. Super uh interesting football this weekend. Can't wait to see what's next. Definitely weather's gonna play a factor, and it's gonna impact how you play and how you do your matchups. And I think game plan is gonna be really important. I
It's
think
going to be
the way to
really
get,
cold in both places, and you'll have both
yeah,
fans will be completely geeked up. The Denver fans are
yeah,
just as loud.
yeah, they're
And
crazy.
but from Rob and me and from the sports guys, can you coaches please who are watching this program just run the ball? Just run the ball. I don't
Yeah,
know why you're not running the
yeah,
ball. I don't
mix
get
in
it.
passes too, but you can't just be one dimensional. You can't just run the ball. You have to run, pass,
Please don't
pass.
have your quarterback being the top rushing leader anymore.
It should
We just don't
never
want to see
happen.
that.
It should never happen.
That's right.
But yeah, I think run the ball and play defense, and you got a shot. And if you don't run the ball and you throw every down, you might get blown out. So
Right. It's true.
it's risk reward. It's high risk to throw the ball that
I will
much.
say these young offensive coaches, that's the way they like to call it. And, it's risk reward because you want one of those guys on your team and you want to be driven in the modern day by passing, but
I
you can't
guess.
forget about being balanced. And that's what's happening. So,
Yeah, lack of balance. I mean, especially when the weather dictates it. Like the weather's telling you to run the ball and have sensible throwing routes to your tight ends and things that are manageable and controllable.
mhm.
And you got young guys like Caleb winging it all over the place instead of getting the first down where you can get a field goal, and you could win because they made them punt. All they had to do was move the ball about 15 more yards, and they had a check down on that interception. Caleb had a check down for 10 yards right there. Bang. First down, and then all you needed to do was move the ball maybe
You know,
5 more yards,
in a lot of
and
ways,
it was a field goal.
a lot of ways, I watch Bo Nix. The way he plays the game is the right way to play it. Like he plays pretty conservatively.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Yep.
go for it very often. But if you could
Hmm.
figure out how to combine his not taking too many risks and not throwing too many picks with the arm talent of Josh Allen and Caleb Williams, it,
Yep.
it would be like you'd be like an All Pro, Hall of Fame type quarterback.
I agree.
Because those
But I'll
guys
tell you
don't
what,
take too many risks.
I'd rather have a sensible quarterback who's going to get the ball into my star's hands than have my quarterback be the star and have him have to do it every time by himself. It's
Mhm.
it's just, you
Because then
know,
they make mistakes. That's what happens.
right. Caleb Williams was couldn't catch the ball. There were drops all over the place by the Bears. There were lack of effort plays by the Bear wide receivers. That's a problem, you
Mhm.
know? There was
And
nothing like that for the Rams.
Josh Allen has to be Superman every game. He has to put his cape on, and
Yeah,
it's just
that's
it's
insane.
yeah.
It's not going to happen. He's not going
He's
to
a
take his
great
team
player. He's a great player,
all the
but
way to the Super Bowl by himself.
mhm.
John Elway, when did he win his Super Bowl? He went his whole career trying to take the team by himself
You got a running game.
on his back. He got Terrell Davis. They won two Super Bowls back to back because
Hmm.
he became a secondary force.
Hmm. Yeah, that's right.
So if you have Superman, you might have a problem because it's too tempting to just always turn the game over to that guy and
Well,
hope he wins
what
it. And
what
it doesn't
happens is
happen.
you can't win four in a row in the playoffs. That's the problem.
That's what
That's
I'm
what
saying.
happens. Yeah.
You can't win four in a row. You can win one or two,
Hmm.
but then you have to go on the road in the cold and play a superior team, a
Right.
superior roster. Eventually, you're going to lose.
Well, guys, thank you so much for watching this week, for liking, for subscribing. Please do it again. Bring some friends to the program. We're trying to grow this thing in 2026. We want to get to 100,000 subscribers this year. That's our goal. And
Yeah.
please help us do so. And guys, thank you for all the comments. They've been awesome. We've been really
Yep.
enjoying
Comments
reading
have
them.
been great. Tom, how excited are you for these games coming up?
Man, I'm pumped. I
They're
am
gonna be
so
good.
pumped. End of the
They're gonna be
year.
good.
And guys, look for our
NFL is
Super
doing a re
Bowl. Our Super Bowl previews coming up in 2 weeks. That's always fun. Robin, I've done it 2 years in a row. This will be our third anniversary of our first episode, which was the Super Bowl preview. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. We'll do some little special announcements in that program. But be looking for some good stuff coming from us.
Yeah, we're having a blast. I hope you are. Join us for our little journey down the end of this NFL season. There's a lot more good stuff coming too. We're about to break into some new big sport seasons. So just all kinds of stuff. Join us and thank you for watching us, and we really appreciate you.
We'll see you next time on the Sports Guys. Enjoy the football. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. See you.